Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
So qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Here we are amidst the dense forest and rolling hills of Spielberg in Austria, just 2 hours out of Vienna. It's an amazing destination for the race today, and we're about to get started. Spielberg is a very short lap, one of the shortest we'll see in this Formula 2 championship. 7 rights and 3 lefts make up the 10 corners of the circuit. The left-hand kink of turn 2, leading into the uphill braking of turn 3, represents another overtake hotspot. As usual, I'm joined by our good friend Davide Valsecchi as we soak up the dramatic scenery. Do you think the drama will continue onto the track today, Davide?
Ciao Alex, I think we can guarantee that. Austria has always been a track that encourages the driver to overtake and attack. But it's a low grip surface. The drivers out there today will have to make sure that the tiny mistakes don't end up hurting them later in the race.
As we're now moments away from the off, let's take a look at the grid order in which they'll start today's race. Bailey lines up on pole position, and Jack Aitken completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have King, Giotto, Nikita Mazepin, Ander Lacey, Ilott, Matsushita, Sete Camara, Dorian Boccolacci, Calderon, Raghunathan, Antoine Hubert, and De Vries, Joe, Correa, Schumacher, and Ralph Boschon. Latifi and Louis Delatraz starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going. We're looking good so far. The drivers we're racing are Mazepin and Aitken. increasing our gap on the car behind by around a second a lap. This is your final lap of the race. Absolutely awesome. Just amazing. Well done.
A great win then for the Prema team today. Davide, what do you think made the difference here?
I think they kept a cool head. That's why they won today. Smooth, steady, everything bad that happened to them, they handled it calmly and professionally. That's what let them focus on getting the best out everything else. The car, the strategy, they managed to keep out of trouble the whole way round.
As we look back on a thrilling race here today, we can now see the drivers take their places on the podium. It's a familiar sight by now, as it's another successful F2 win for Prema. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Bailey increases their championship lead. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
Difficult call, but I take Nikita Mazepin. He was just special in the using of tires. He managed the tires to the end, and he was the quickest.
And now a look at the team standings. Prema extend their lead at the top of the championship. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from ART this time out, and they improve their position in the championship.
My choice is not the same as the fans' choice this time. And both drivers were brilliant today. But the driver I choose today just about has the edge, I think.
Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Fantastic. You've got pole.
As we wind down from the excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top three: Bailey, Alesi, and Dorian Boccolacci. It's time to leave for now, but we'll be back tomorrow when the feature race gets itself underway. And hello to everyone joining us here in Silverstone this weekend as the drivers make their final preparations for today's race. The grid is forming up and we're getting ready for what promises to be a real spectacle. The 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit in Great Britain should be familiar to fans and drivers alike. Built upon the site of a World War II airbase, the track features 18 corners and some good opportunities to overtake at the end of the two DRS zones located on the Wellington and Hangar Straights. Joining me today in the commentary box is former 2012 GP2 champion Davide Valsecchi. We all know the circuit so well, Davide. What's got your attention today?
Always a pleasure, Alex. Everyone looks forward to Silverstone, and with such an intriguing grid, I think the fans will be excited for the start of today's race. We know these young drivers are hungry to prove themselves. Hopefully, we'll be seeing some more history being made today.
And here are the driver grid positions for today's race. Bailey lines up on pole position, with Giuliano Alesi starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Boccolacci, King, Nobuharu Matsushita, and Joe, Correa, De Vries, Schumacher, Callum Ilott, Giotto, Hubert, Jack Aitken, and Mazepin, Latifi, Delatraz, Tete Camara, and Mahavir Raghunathan. Calderon and Ralph Boschung completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks. Okay, that's a good start. Keep it up. Okay, here's who we're really fighting today, Alesi and Boccolacci. Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race. The gap between you and the car behind is increasing by a significant amount each lap. Good job. The drivers we're fighting here are Alesi and Boccolacci. This is your final lap of the race. This is your final lap of the race. Great job. You've done everything we wanted today.
Great effort there from Prema to take the victory today. So, Davide, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
This race, this win, was about one thing and one thing only: consistency. Anyone can be quick for just one lap, but there's a difference between that and being quick every lap, over and over and over. If you can do that, if you can gain ground when your opponents make mistakes, but then not make mistakes on your own, you can just push and push.
It looks like it's time for the victory ceremony once again, as I can see the drivers beginning to make their way out for the celebrations. You can see it on their faces. It's another marvellous team win for Prema today. After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Bailey increases their championship lead. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
I have to give it to Giuliano Alesi. One of the best things about Formula 2 is watching these young drivers grow and mature, and it feels like his career took a big step forward today.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Teams Championship. Prema extend their lead at the top of the championship. Meanwhile, Carlin move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. After all this drama, you'll be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Excellent lap. We're really pleased.
The grid is all set for the race tomorrow, but before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top three, which are Bailey, King, and Antoine Hubert. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow, where we'll be live with all the action, and until then, goodbye. Located in the Ardennes countryside, Spa has been hosting races for almost a century, and it's revered by drivers and fans alike. So it's a joy to be here today as we prepare for the next thrilling installment in the Formula 2 race calendar. So here we are again, a whopping 4.35 miles of track here at Spa, featuring long straights, some seriously fast corners, and some massive elevation changes. This is a track that routinely delivers high-quality racing, and we'll be hoping to see just that from our young F2 drivers today. Davide Valsecchi joins me today. Davide, Spa is a favourite for fans and drivers alike. What tips would you have for these young drivers today?
Always a pleasure to be here, Alex. Who doesn't love Spa? I wish I was down there racing today. I would say there's a lot of places to overtake on this circuit, so be patient on that first corner. Try and get through it safely, get a good exit, and get in the right position to attack at the end of the main straight.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Bailey lines up on pole position, with Jordan King alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hubert, Boccolacci, Guan Yu Zhou, and Latifi, Schumacher, Correa, Giotto, Nobuharu Matsushita, Mazepin, Ilott, Jack Aitken, and Alesi, De Vries, Boschon, Delatraz, and Sergio Sette Camara. Raghunathan and Tatiana Calderon completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish. Keep pushing. Let's capitalize on that first lap. that front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage. Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor damage. Mind that front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage. No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. been awarded a time penalty for that last incident. This is your final lap of the race. Fantastic! You've won the Grand Prix.
So another excellent win from Prema. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
It was down to one thing: consistent pace over everyone else out there on the track. We could spend a great deal of time talking about race and tire strategy, what else occurred on the track, but at the end of the day, the difference here was down to simply being faster on track than everyone else. Amazing skill on show.
As we look back on a thrilling race here today, we can now see the drivers take their places on the podium. It's a familiar sight by now, as it's another successful F2 win for Prema. And now, let's take a look at the driver's standings. Bailey increases their championship lead. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
It's got to be Mick Schumacher. He attacked all race long. He was amazing.
On to the teams then. Prema extend their lead at the top of the championship. Meanwhile, Arden's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
So qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Your top three are Bailey, Hubert and Dorian Boccalacci. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. Hello and welcome back to a classic circuit familiar to fans the world over. This is Monza. You can hear the cars ready to go. Certainly the fans are ready for some action. We're all set, so let's get this Formula 2 race underway. Monza's emphasis on long, fast straights typically rewards a low drag setup, but teams using that could face some problems in these conditions. Watch out for Parabolica, possibly this track's most demanding corner. We may see cars struggling for grip there. I'm joined by a man who's had many a wet race, Davide Valsecchi. Just how challenging will these conditions be out there on track?
Delighted to be here, Alex. Even in this weather, nothing will be easy for them. We may have standing water, which means visibility will be a worry. They just need to stay clear of the white lines and curbs. That can cause you a real problem when it's so slippery.
Well then, after an exciting session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Bailey lines up on pole position, and it's Antoine Hubert in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Boccalacci, Mazepin, Giuliano Alesi, and Schumacher, Correa, King, Aitken, Louis Delatraz, Sete Camara, Matsushita, Tatiana Calderon, and Joe, Giotto, Latifi, Boschon, and Callum Ilott. De Vries and Mahavir Raghunathan starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, this is the team's home race. We're all relying on you to impress today. We've been handed a 3-second penalty for obvious corner cutting. This rain could be with us for a while. Light rain conditions for the foreseeable future. Great first lap. Keep it up. was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. This light rain is going to be with us for a while now. Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race. This is your final lap of the race. This is your final lap of the race. Light rain will stay with us for at least 20 minutes, maybe more. Light rain is here to stay. We've been awarded a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. You've been awarded a time penalty for that last incident. Fantastic drive, and it means you're driver's world champion. What a result. Enjoy it.
There were questions at the start of the season as to whether they could really go all the way, but there's no question anymore. What a special year it's been, and here they are, the new Formula 2 World Drivers' Champion. That's a fantastic performance from Prema. It hardly looked in doubt. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, rain can always be counted to add a bit of a chaos into the race, and they really took advantage of that today to secure this win. I mean, conditions like this can always make it a bit of a lottery, but ultimately, they kept the car on the track and they pointed the right way. Not everyone can do that. And that's what got them the win today.
And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
Nobuharu Matsushita is my favorite one. Today was amazing. He made so many overtakes. The official driver of the day also did a fantastic job. But I have to vote with my heart, and today I have to go in a different direction.
So then, after today's event, Prema have claimed the team's championship. Meanwhile, Arden's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Fantastic. You've got pole.
As we wind down from the excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top three: Bailey, Aitken, and Nobuharu Matsushita. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the feature race tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's results with a look at the starting grid. Bailey lines up on pole position, and it's Jack Aitken alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Matsushita, Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou, Ander Lacey, Boccalacci, Hubert, Ilott, Luca Giotto, De Vries, Latifi, Juan Manuel Correa, and King, Delatraz, Mazepin, Boschon, and Mahavir Raghunathan. Calderon and Sergio Sette Camara rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going. That's a strong start. Well done. If you continue to cut corners, the stewards will give you a penalty. Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. You're increasing the gap to the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Keep this up. You are in first position, front of the pack. Aitken is behind you. The gap to the car behind is 9.0 seconds. They're on fresh Super Softs. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 2 laps left. Next time by will be your final lap. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Okay, you're creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap. You've been awarded a time penalty. It will go against us. Absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Prema today. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
The difference was in the strategy. Credit to the driver for sure, but races like this really drive home how much of a team sport this is. They did a lot of work on the pit wall to really make the most of each stint and to make the best use of the tires. But that said, all of that would have been for nothing without a talented hand on the wheel.
It looks like it's time for the victory ceremony once again, as I can see the drivers beginning to make their way out for the celebrations. You can see it on their faces. It's enough. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
I think it has to be a Luca Ghiotto. You know, good on tires, some nice passes. I can't really think of anyone who caught my ass more today.
So then, after today's event, Prema have claimed the team's championship. Meanwhile, Carlin move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.